Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bat Around. I'm your host, Paul Valley. He is Ryan Blake. We are coming to you live on an overcast Saturday, but a beautiful Saturday after the Orioles put together their most complete victory since July over the Texas Rangers, over the Detroit Tigers last night, 7-1. Today's show is brought to you by Royal Farms. School's back in session, and it's time for a roll call, a chicken roll call, that is. Right now at Royal Farms, you can get 9 chicken rolls for just $10. In addition, a 10-piece dark Rofo chicken meal is just $15, and you can get 2 hot, good-to-go sandwiches for just $6. Get your neighborhood Rofo today to find out why they were voted number 1 in the USA Today Reader's Choice poll for best gas station for food. Ryan, good morning, man. How are we feeling today after that complete victory from the Orioles last night?
I've been so sad for so long, and the Orioles have finally strung together a couple nice wins, and it's good to see. It's refreshing. It brings some positive vibes back into the area. But man, for a while it was bleak. It was really bleak. I was at Camden Yards. I sat through the 10-0 loss to the Giants. I was there the next night, watched another loss, and then we're able to get the walk-off on Thursday, put together a good, complete team win last night. So things are starting to turn around, and it's about time.
Yeah, were you there for the win on Thursday?
No.
So it's probably you. It's probably you.
Me.
Yeah.
Probably me.
No more season tickets for Ryan Blake. He can't have them next year. What's your record when the Orioles go? Have you kept track of that? You seem like a guy that would keep track of that.
I used to. I don't know. I go to too many games for that to matter.
I think they're 2-2 when I go. This year, haven't been able to go to nearly as many games I have in years past. But they won on opening day. They won on July 31st. They lost the other 2 games that I've been to this year. So let's get into it, man. What's that?
I was just gonna say. I will say I have 2 tickets on my plan, and I don't take the same person every time. So I am starting to figure out who not to bring, because they seem to bring along the bad luck. There's a couple people that we tend to have better luck. A few people that I don't think I've seen a win with in like 3 years. So I definitely need to I have a little more discretion when I'm picking who to invite to these games.
Hey, they're 1-0 when you take me. I'm just saying.
That's true.
That's true. Saying. Corbin Burnes last night, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 walks, 8 Ks, no runs allowed. He went 29 starts this year without a scoreless outing, and now he's gone 14 innings, allowing 0 runs his last 2 starts. And he said that since August, when he was pitching terribly, the Orioles worked on his cutter grip because his previous grip was leaving the ball too high up in the zone. It was getting mashed. And now it's finishing lower in the zone. He's getting a lot more swing and miss on it. And he thinks that that's a big reason why he's back to his ace form. What have you seen from Corbin Burnes the last 2 starts to put him back at the top of the Orioles rotation and kind of catapulting himself back into Cy Young consideration?
I see a guy who looks like he's been tired of struggling. There's been some visible frustration with him, especially throughout August. He had like a 7.8 ERA in August. Very unlike him. And I
think it was actually 8.7 in August.
8.7. Yeah, that's not who Corbin Burnes is. And you could see the frustration. You could see the emotion. He tried cutting his hair. It was a whole thing. He was trying to figure out how to get right. They're able to rework the cutter a little bit. He had a couple good outings. I think he went 5 innings, 2 runs, and then 6 innings, 1 run, and then back-to-back 7 scoreless. So regaining his form, looking like the guy that we expected to anchor this rotation. You mentioned reworking that cutter. He's able to locate it a little bit better. The slider is able to play off of it a little bit more because it's not as apparent out of the hand, which pitch is coming. So it's good to see. Hopefully it's something that he can carry into the playoffs because we certainly need him.
Oh, absolutely. And he was helped last night by 5 home runs from the offense. They haven't hit 5 home runs in a game since last September in a 13-12 victory over the Red Sox. And it was 2 from Colton, 2 from James McCann, another 2-run shot from Anthony Santander. The offense came to life last night, really pushed this team over the top for that victory. And this coming on the heels of that 2-run walk-off homer from Anthony Santander the day before. In a game that the Orioles led 3-2, going into the ninth inning, Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in and blows his first save in 10 opportunities with the ball club. And really, the first three guys reach. The first three guys reach in that ninth inning against Dominguez. A run scores. You have runners on first and second with nobody out. The game's now tied 3-3. Were you sitting there with that victory? I know you weren't at the stadium, but I feel like everybody's watching this and thinking they're going to lose this ball game. Was that your feeling on Thursday afternoon?
You know, it wasn't, and I'll tell you what the turning point was for me. I went to grab some pizza for the office on my lunch break. I made a nice sale Thursday morning, so I figured I would treat the office to lunch. And I'm sitting inside the pizza place waiting for my food. I'm following the Gamecast on my phone. We're down 2-1. Ryan O'Hearn and Heston Kjerstad and Jackson Holliday are due up. And we have runners on second and third with nobody out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there thinking, things have been so bad with this team, especially with runners in scoring position. I don't expect them to score. I think O'Hearn grounded out back to Logan Webb. Kjerstad struck out. And it's Jackson Holliday with 2 outs, runners on second and third, Orioles still down by a run. And my pizza was ready, so I had to put my phone away and walk back out to my car. And when I turned my car back on and popped on the radio, I hear Melanie Newman talking about how Jackson Holliday just hit a 2-run go-ahead single up the middle, and the Orioles have a 3-2 lead. And I can't explain why, but that was the moment where I was like, we're going to win this game. And even when Dominguez came in, blew the lead, it looked bleak. He gave up, he walked the first 2 batters, and then you have that awful collision out in right center field between Austin Slater and Cedric Mullins. I was still feeling like as long as we don't give up I shouldn't say give up the lead, as long as we don't allow the Giants to take the lead, I felt like we were going to win that game, and Tony came through. And just a huge win, an absolutely huge win to turn the vibes around. That's the kind of moment the team needed. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they've been able to carry that momentum. They certainly did last night. We need it this series against Detroit. We're fighting them for a playoff spot. We need it in New York. We're going to need it in Minnesota. So hopefully this is some momentum that we can start to carry.
Danny Coulombe makes his return to the Orioles last night. Can you hear my daughter in the background?
I just started to be able to hear her.
Okay. Danny Coulombe returns to the Orioles last night, a scoreless 8th inning. He labored a little bit. His first outing back with the ball club. He allowed 2 hits, but also struck out 2. Coulombe threw 24 pitches. Any concern about Coulombe throwing 24 pitches in his first outing back?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised Hyde kept him in that long. I don't know what his pitch counts were at Norfolk in his rehab outings, but he was approaching 20, and I was like, all right, it might be time to get him out of here. He'd given up a couple base runners. So, yeah, a little bit of concern there. I mean, I'm sure he won't be available today, may not be available tomorrow. But in any event, just so refreshing to have him back in the fold.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned the vibes from the Santander walk-off home run. Now, if you recall, Santander hit that go-ahead grand slam in the 8th inning against the Astros last month. And then they won that game. Then the Orioles won the game the next night on a big 3-run homer late in the game from Ramon Urias. They then promptly lost the next 2 games. They go out I think they went out to LA and they lost 2 or 3 there. So the vibes seem to have shifted after the Santander walk-off home run. They got the big win last night. Craig Kimbrel was also DFA'd before the game on Thursday. So now the question for you is, was it the Santander walk-off home run or the Craig Kimbrel DFA that brought the vibes back to the Orioles? I don't think there have been fans who have been speculating that they don't think it's a coincidence that Kimbrel was DFA'd and the Orioles started playing better. I don't think that's the case. I think that the team. I don't think that the team just started losing because we have Craig Kimbrel in the bullpen. I think that they were all pulling for him and they all like him and wanted him to get back to what he was. It just wasn't happening. It makes me hesitant to say, oh, they're back, and to say, oh, it got really bleak for a while there, but we're back, because Tony Taters did this a month ago and they weren't back.
Yeah.
Are they back? And was that walk-off home run enough to shift the tides?
Look, I think, all right, so you talk about Santander hitting the grand slam against the Astros. Jackson Holiday had that bases clearing pinch hit double. Ramon Urias had a big 3-run homer.
That's what it was. It was the Holiday. The 3-run homer was the only runs the Orioles scored in the game, but they didn't win that game. That's right.
Right. No, yeah. No, they did. That was my wife's birthday. We were at the all-time low concert. The Orioles pulled that one out thanks to Holiday's pinch hit 3-run
Right.
double.
That was the only runs the Orioles scored in that game. They won that game, but the Urias 3-run homer, that was the only runs the Orioles scored, but they didn't win the game.
That's right.
I think that was the next game.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was the end of the Astros series, and then so that was another moment where we were thinking, things were starting to turn around. You take two exciting wins over the Astros, and then they went right back to their old habits.
Mm-hmm.
So you hope that this isn't something that is going to be similar. I kind of have the impression that this is the start of a legitimate turnaround for this team. We've been talking for so long about how they're too talented to be this bad for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And in a few days, Paul, whether it's at home against Detroit or in New York by virtue of a Detroit loss or someone else losing, the Orioles are going to have a champagne celebration in their clubhouse, and they're going to know, hey, we're going to the playoffs. It's a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that coupled with, this string of, these last 2 wins that they put together, I think that's really going to give the guys a breath of fresh air and let them kind of reset and regroup and understand, like, hey, we're in the dance. Anything can happen now. Even if they're a UMBC playing against the Virginia, anything can happen. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, they started playing together once Kimbrel's gone. 2-1 in the post Kimbrel era. It's a winning record. You can't say that for the last 3 months. That's
667 ball. That's 667 ball. Now let's talk about this a little bit. All right. We're gonna go a little bit further down the notes here because you mentioned 2 different things, and I want to address. You mentioned that the Orioles. You think that this could be the changing of the tide because the playoffs are coming up and they're going to clinch a spot here. But there's something that could help them. So I want to talk about 2 different aspects of this. Number 1, reinforcements are on their way. Jordan Westburg and Ramon Urias are on a rehab assignment with Norfolk. Both players have 3 hits in 2 games. Ramon Urias turned around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball last night to right field for an Oppo Taco. I think both are recalled today. I think the Orioles are recalling both players today, and you're going to see Ramon at third and Westburg at second base going against what's his name? Who's the pitcher for them? Reese. What's his last name?
Olsen? Is he going?
Reese
today?
Olsen. Reese Olsen is going today. I think you're going to see those 2 guys in the lineup against Reese Olsen today. Ryan Mountcastle is set to join them. He had his first rehab game last night. 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts last night. I suspect he'll either be back tomorrow, but more than likely, I think they'll give him another rehab game today and tomorrow, get him the day off on Monday, and then he'll return for that Yankees series. You got Danny Coulombe back. Grayson threw another bullpen off a mound. He hasn't faced live hitters yet. I think he's destined for the bullpen come October. I think the Orioles are going to use him as their closer or a late inning guy or maybe even a long relief guy. If a starting pitcher is through 5 innings, a 2-run ball, here comes Grayson to pitch the 6th and 7th type of situation. We mentioned Kimbrel got DFA'd. The Orioles have some guys who are coming back as early as today, and in Coulombe's case, yesterday. How much do those reinforcements help this team make a solid run to end the season and get hot? And then chances are they're going to be a wild card team, and chances are they're going to be the top wild card team. How much more likely are the Orioles to continue a hot run through the end of the season and into the playoffs without that break in between?
Yeah, I don't think you can understate the importance of getting the band back together, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We talked last week and we've talked in prior weeks about how, not only are they missing 3 key pieces of this team, but they're missing 3 right-handed bats. And as a result, they've been forced to play lefties regularly against left-handed pitchers when they're not very good against left-handed pitchers. So this is going to be huge in that regard, first of all. Number 2, these guys, we know how much they all love each other. Mountcastle is, 27, 28, but he's a veteran on this team. Mm-hmm. Jordan Westburg came up with all the rest of these guys, and they're all so tight-knit. We know Ramon Urias has been here for several years now, and he's had periods of contribution, periods where we kind of wanted him off the team, but nonetheless, he had a good August, right? So we want that back.
Stepped up in a huge situation when the Orioles needed him the most. He stepped up and was their best hitter until he rolled his ankle.
Yeah, he was massive. So I think getting these guys, having a little bit more balance in the lineup, an opportunity to give, Jackson Holiday a breather. I don't know if he's going to be on the postseason roster.
Well,
Mayo, I don't know, and we'll get to that a little bit later too. But what was your other question? The importance of not having the long break as the bye team. Yeah. So last season, right, we go into the playoffs and we think we've got all the momentum, and then we had 5 days off, I think, before we played again, and then came out flat.
Mm-hmm.
We know how the Orioles have been after days off this year, and it's not pretty. So, yeah, look, just get there. If they're the first wildcard team, they host 2 or 3 games at home, hopefully win 2 out of the 3 games at home to advance. I think that's a way to carry some momentum. Look, winning the division is awesome. Of course, I want to hang another banner. Of course, I want to be able to rub it in the Yankees' faces. That's not going to happen. Just get there, carry some momentum in, take 2 out of 3 in New York, take 2 out of 3 in Minnesota, and have some confidence going into the playoffs, because that's what you need.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, the Orioles had the best record in the American League, second best record in all of baseball last year. They got that bye, and they only got 2 home games. You win the top wild card spot, you don't have that 5-day layoff, and you're still guaranteed 2 home games, if not 3. Now, you'd rather have the 2 because that means only 2, because then you've won both of those games, hopefully. Right.
You don't have to worry about a decisive game 3.
Now, it would be, if the Orioles are the top wild card, then you're looking at the 2 top seeds being the Yankees and the Guardians. If the Orioles win that wild card game, you know what? Let's get to that here. We got another segment that has something to do with that. With Westy, Ramon, and Mountie coming back, who goes? You've got Luis Rivera. I'm sorry. You've got Levan Soto. Levan Soto, Emmanuel Rivera, Jackson Holiday, and Kobe Mayo are the 4 guys that the decision will be made between. Rivera was hitting 5th in that lineup last night. Soto plays a decent defense, and he's always been a decent hitter in the small sample sizes he's gotten in his big league career. Holiday had back-to-back games where he had a hit and some good at bats, and then last night he strikes out 3 times. Kobe Mayo got another hit last night, but he also grounded out. He also struck out. Who stays and who goes when these guys come back? Because you're not keeping all of them. And I'm inclined to think that I think Soto and Mayo are the guys that go for Westburg and Ramon. I think they keep Holiday. I think they keep Rivera. But because unless they say, you know what, Holiday, you put in a long season, probably the longest season of your entire career. Let's get you some rest. Maybe they keep him in the dugout with the team in like street clothes for the playoffs and everything, but he's done playing. What are your thoughts? Because I like what I think is going to happen and what is going to happen are probably 2 very different things. I legitimately have no idea.
Yeah, it's so tough to predict. I think if we're looking at it in a vacuum, just in the sense of, all right, you've got Rivera, Soto, Holiday, and Mayo. Who are you keeping? In that vacuum, I think I'm keeping Rivera right now.
Mm-hmm. He can play first base. He can play third base. I think that is I don't know. Continue.
The knock on Rivera, and the reason I think he might not make the cut, is that they're getting 2, maybe 2 today, but in the next few days, 3 right-handed infielders back. So I think he'd be kind of redundant at that point. If you've got Westburg and you've got Urias, both of whom can play third, you've got Mountcastle who plays first. I think Emmanuel Rivera would be a little bit redundant in that role. I think it's safe to say that Levan Soto is going to be out of the picture.
Yeah, I think so.
For the rookies, I don't know, man. I have these fantasies about watching Jackson Holiday and Kobe Mayo hit big home runs in the postseason, but they've been so bad.
Yeah, that image that you have in your mind is probably more likely in 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I could. It's so hard to predict. It really, really is.
I really have no idea. I'm not going to bet on who it's going to be.
Me neither.
Because I have no idea. If you're betting on who it's going to be, you may have a gambling problem. And if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. That's 1-800-GAMBLER or helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. And we're going to do something way earlier than we've ever done in the show, and that is our AL contenders wrap-up, and there is a point to this. We're going to get into it. In a pitcher's duel that went extra innings, Garrett Cole outdueled an entire Oakland A's pitching staff, picking up the win in a game that went 10 innings as the Yanks ace tossed 9 innings of one-run ball, allowing 2 hits while striking out 7. The Yankees got RBI hits from Juan Soto and Anthony Volpe and part of a 3-run attempt to take down the A's 4-2. The Yankees' lead on the Orioles remains 4 games with 8 to play. In another extra inning affair, the Twins and Red Sox went into the 12th inning tied at 1. But in the top half of that 12th inning, the Twins got RBI hits from Trevor Larnach and Matt Wallner and a sac fly from Willie Castro to take down the Red Sox 4-2. The win for the Twins gives them sole possession of the 3rd and final AL wildcard spot, putting the Tigers on the outside looking in by 1 game with 8 to play. In another pitcher's duel, the Giants' Mason Black outdueled the Royals' Michael Wacha, tossing 5 2/3 innings of shutout ball to Wacha's 5 2/3 innings of 2-run ball. And while the Royals got the first 2 runners on in the bottom of the 9th, they were only able to muster 1 run to fall to the Giants and further behind the Orioles for the top wild card spot, 2-1. Helio Ramos finished a homer shy of the cycle for the Giants, driving in a run and scoring the other run. The Mariners got 2 home runs and 5 RBI from Julio Rodriguez and another home run from Juan Rojas. I think that's his name. I guessed and forgot to check. And George Kirby allowed 2 runs in 6 solid innings to pick up his 13th victory as the Mariners took down the Rangers 8-2. With the victory, the Mariners remain 2 games behind the Twins for the final wild card spot. And the reason, Ryan, that we did that segment this early is because it's all coming down now to the Orioles magic number. What does it mean? If you're new to baseball, if you're a new fan following baseball, the Orioles magic number means how many wins combined with other teams' losses. How many Orioles wins combined with other teams' losses does there need to be for the Orioles to clinch a playoff spot? Currently, to clinch the playoffs, the Orioles magic number is down to 3 with that victory over the Tigers last night. If the Orioles sweep the Tigers cannot win even as many games as the Orioles, and even if they did, the Orioles would hold the tiebreaker, having won 4 of the 6 games. So, Ryan, if the Orioles win the game tonight, this afternoon against the Tigers, it takes their magic number from 3 down to 1 for the postseason. That's really all I have to say about that.
I didn't know if you had a question you were going to play on.
No, that's really, so because the Tigers have made a solid run, the Tigers are the first team out. And if the Orioles are able to guarantee a better record than the Tigers, they clinch a playoff spot since the Tigers are the first team out. Yeah. The top wild card seed, that magic number is down to 5, but it's essentially 4 because of tiebreakers. The Orioles won the season series with Kansas City, who are currently 4 games back of the Orioles for the top wildcard spot. With a win today and an Orioles loss, that number drops from 5 to 3, but it's essentially 2.
A Royals, Kansas City Royals loss.
That's what I said, right?
You said Orioles.
With an Orioles win and a Royals loss. Is it a Royals? Either way. Orioles win, Royals loss today, drops that number essentially to 2 because the Orioles hold the tiebreaker. There is a real scenario, Ryan, where if the Orioles sweep the Tigers and the Giants sweep the Royals, the Orioles would technically clinch the top wildcard spot with 6 games to go because the Royals cannot catch the Orioles. They can't pass the Orioles. They could catch them, but the Orioles will win the tiebreaker because they won the season series 4 games to 2 over the Royals. So exactly. Let's get a sweep and a giant sweep of the Royals, and let's just clinch everything that we can tomorrow.
Sure.
Teams that can catch the Orioles. If the Orioles win today and the Mariners lose, the Mariners cannot catch the Orioles. And even if they finish with the same, I'll get into that, leaving just the Twins, Tigers, and Royals remaining in the AL that could catch or pass Baltimore. With a win today, the Orioles would need just one more victory to secure the playoffs in their last 7 games. If the Orioles win today, they need one win in the last 7 games to clinch the playoffs. Even if the Orioles and Mariners either both win or both lose the next 2 games, the Orioles would clinch a spot over the Mariners because the M's would be 7 games back with 6 games to play. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
And if the Mariners and the Orioles finish with the same record, the Orioles hold the tiebreakers because they went 4-2 against the Mariners this year. Are there any questions about this?
Not for me, Paul. Just win some baseball games.
Yep. Win baseball games and you take care of yourself. All the Orioles have to do is essentially win 3 more games, and they basically lock everything up that they can lock up aside from the division, is how I'm looking at it. If the Orioles win today, they win tomorrow, they're going to clinch a playoff spot. If they get some help from the Royals, they'll clinch the top wild card spot. I think if the Orioles win 3 more games, they're essentially guaranteed that top wild card spot. But it has to happen first. As great as the last 2 victories have felt, I have felt great after a couple of victories recently and been let down. So I'm going to sit here and have cautious optimism that the team is back. But look, you can't deny the reinforcements that are on their way for this ball club. I'm excited to see Ramon and Westburg get back. I think they're coming back today. I expect to see some kind of roster announcement. Haven't gotten one yet, but I expect to see someone, especially something in the next couple of hours, especially with a 4:05 start today. And usually they announce the lineup within an hour, within 2 or 3 hours of first pitch. So I expect to see something in the next hour or 2 regarding some roster moves.
I'm going to go ahead and make a guess, Paul. Westburg and Urias activated today. Soto and Mayo on their way out.
I think that's the case. I think that's the case if I'm looking into my crystal ball.
And then Rivera when they activate Mountcastle. That's gonna be my guess. I don't think they want to option Holiday twice in one season.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And for nothing else, it was like when they had Derek Jeter on the postseason roster. I think it was in '95, maybe. I don't know if he was on the postseason roster. They just let him stay in the dugout with them. They wanted him to see what it was like to be in October and play winning baseball. You kind of saw the Orioles do the same thing with Heston Kjerstad last year, where he was on the roster but didn't even get an at-bat. I think it's going to be the same thing with Jackson Holiday. And then, man, I can't wait. I want off-season shows to wait as long as possible, but I can't wait to talk about what the Orioles could look like next season in some of our off-season shows this year because, man, anyway, let's not jump the gun here. Today's show brought to you by the all-new Arthur Mollett Show, brought to you by PressBox. Next Arthur Mollett Show is Tuesday, October 1st at the Green Turtle in Towson. Join Glenn, Rita, Arthur, and his special guests all season long as they travel the region, allowing you to get up close and personal with your favorite players. Find the entire schedule at PressBoxOnline.com/Mollett. If you can't make it out, watch the show on PressBox's Facebook or YouTube page, or listen Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. So join us Tuesday, October 1st at the Green Turtle in Towson for the next Arthur Mollett Show. All right.
Can I hit a little 30-second soft toss here?
Is this about Kobe Mayo's award?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I know you know about this. Kobe Mayo was presented yesterday with the Brooks Robinson Orioles Minor League Player of the Year award. The problem is that the award that he was given said Brooke Robinson. A mortal sin in the Orioles world. I don't know who was responsible. I truly, truly, truly hope that this was simply an engraving error and they received the award too late to do anything about it. But, man, how many eyes did that get past? The Brooke Robinson? Are you kidding? Like,
and how do you not, like, you take that picture and you have to, like, go through, like, a production process before you post it, right? So how do you not Photoshop in an S?
I don't know. It wasn't even it was the Orioles player development page that posted it. And I don't know what possessed me to zoom in. I guess I was just curious to see what it looked like.
Maybe you wanted to read what it said.
There's not an S.
Yeah, it's so funny because you posted that this morning on X, And I saw it, and the first thought that went through my head, the second thought, because the first thought was, how does that happen? But the second thought was, how the hell did Ryan notice that? And I feel like you would have been the first person to notice that. You're like on top of stuff like that. I'm like, you can't see that with the naked eye with the original picture. You have to zoom in. What possessed this man to zoom in and look at that? I was like, that was literally the second thought that went through my head.
I don't know, but I can add getting a quote tweeted by Darren Rovell to my resume. That's something I didn't expect to happen.
What did he say?
It was just a couple of I think it was the covering the eye emojis, something like that.
Yeah. That is too much, man, and it's just like the maybe the most important player in the history of your franchise, and certainly one of the most popular and most beloved. And you don't get his name right on an engraved award for your top minor league player of the season. Good Lord. Good Lord. Somebody commented on that post that you put up, and they said, this is the worst and most embarrassing thing to happen to the Orioles all season.
It's close.
It's close. My knee-jerk reaction was, come on, that's no reaction. I thought about it. I'm like, no, it's pretty bad.
It's embarrassing.
It's pretty bad. It's Brooks Robinson. Like, people that don't know baseball that live in Baltimore know who Brooks Robinson is. They know his name is Brooks, not Brooke.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what does it sound? Brooke Robinson. That wouldn't sound right.
No. I've gotten a handful of responses too, because I get I have mention notifications for that account. So I've gotten at least 3 people who responded. They're like, the award's named after him. What's the problem? And then I've gone on to reply to them, and they had already deleted it because I guess they missed the joke the first time around. Not the joke, but missed the whole reason why it's a problem.
Well, I think it's safe to say you definitely didn't see that with a jaundiced eye. But are you looking at your old boiler with a jaundiced eye? It's time to call AJ Michaels. You'll save 50% of your energy, get a $600 rebate, and an 18-month no-interest energy loan. You can find us at ajmichaels.com for more details. That was a good transition, man. I'm on it today. This is what happens when the vibes are good and I'm feeling good and we're excited to do a show. I mean, we're always excited to do a show, but sometimes it's tough when the team's playing terribly. So happy to have a great vibe show today. This is something that has nothing to do with the Orioles, but it's a baseball show. And Ryan, I really our buddy Zach, not Zach Goodman, but our buddy Zach, otherwise known as Pigtown Sports, posted this debate yesterday, and I think it's really interesting. He said, which season was better, 2023 Ronald Acuna Jr. or 2024 Shohei Ohtani? Shohei Ohtani, by the way, hit another home run last night. He's the first and only member of the 50-50 club, 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. But I think this is worth discussing because so many people would say, because they don't want to be embarrassed, and it's widely agreed upon that Shohei Ohtani is the greatest player we've seen in this generation and maybe the greatest player of all time. And that's fair to say. But I think we got to pump the brakes on which season was better. Ronald Acuna in 2023, Shohei Ohtani in 2024. Ohtani's numbers are as of Friday because I did this yesterday before he played. Their game didn't start till 10 p.m. I was already in bed.
He had another homer and another steal last night. Yeah.
So Ronald Acuna Jr. 2023. His slash line, 337, 416, 596, a 10-12 OPS, 217 hits, 41 home runs, 73 stolen bases, 35 doubles, 80 walks, and just 84 strikeouts. 8.2 B WAR, 9.1 F WAR. Acuna led the National League in hits, runs, stolen bases, on base percentage, OPS, OPS plus, and total bases. Shohei Ohtani as of Friday, his slash line, 294, 376, 629, a 1,005 OPS, 176 hits, 51 home runs, 51 stolen bases, 34 doubles, 120 RBIs, 77 walks, 158 Ks, 7.8 B WAR, 7.7 F WAR. He leads the National League in home runs, RBIs, runs, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus, and total bases. Which season is better?
I don't know, man. They're both just so out of this world remarkable that, like, it depends how you want to quantify better, right? Do you want to consider that Shohei Ohtani is doing this while rehabbing from a major arm surgery? Do you want to consider that, like, sure, Ohtani is the first member of the 50-50 club, but Acuna is the first member of the 40-70 club? That's, remarkably impressive.
Keep in mind that Ohtani is doing this from the DH spot. He has not played an inning in the field.
Yeah.
Acuna played 159 games last year, and I'm pretty sure every last one of them was in right field. He played over 1,300 innings in right field last year and still stole 20 more bases, hit 40 points higher, had a higher on base percentage, had more hits, and struck out half as much.
Yeah.
For me, and it's like comparing, I don't have to know. Like it's like comparing like a filet mignon to a ribeye. Both are incredible in their own right, but a little bit different, right? It's like you're winning either way.
Yeah.
For me, what Ronald Acuna did last year is better than what Shohei Ohtani did. I mean, Acuna was 9 home runs shy of being a member of the 50-50 club. And you don't think that he can add 9 home runs somewhere? I mean, Tony Taters has 10 more home runs this year than his previous career high. He added 15 home runs from last year when he played just as many games. So are we going to sit there and say Acuna can't hit? And Ronald Acuna is going to come back from that injury motivated, determined, and he's going to want to be a member of that 50-50 club. He's going to want to say, whoa, wait. Don't forget about me over here.
Yeah.
Now,
I think –
go ahead.
It's just the other thing about, and I feel like I'm subconsciously trying to make an argument for Ohtani here, and that's not the case.
Everybody is, because he's Shohei Ohtani. Like people are embarrassed to go against him.
Yeah, but I look at what Acuna did, and we kind of knew to an extent that Acuna had something like that in his back pocket. With Ohtani, I mean, like, Ohtani, we knew he had the power, right? We knew he was going to be like a 20 to 30 steal guy. But Ohtani took a season where he knew he wasn't going to pitch and was like, I'm just going to be the best in the world at everything else. And he did it. And he might come and pitch in the postseason as a reliever, which, I don't know, man. Look, Ronald Acuna, Shohei Ohtani are both incredible. We're so lucky to be able to watch both of them. I can't decide between one or the other. I can't do it.
I don't want to decide. I don't want to decide. I'll tell you
what I want is I want Acuna healthy next year. I want Ohtani healthy next year, and I want to see the two of them battle it out for National League MVP.
Yeah, I think Shohei Ohtani is going to be the first DH of all time to win the MVP this year. Like, he's the best player on arguably the best team in baseball, and he doesn't play an inning in the field. Now, here's the thing that nobody talks about, because nobody forgets about this guy. You can't forget about this guy. But what Shohei Ohtani is doing, he's stealing the spotlight right now, right? But what we're not talking about is Aaron Judge. And 2022, 11.1 F4, 10.5 B WAR. 2024, 10.2 F4, 9.9 B WAR. I think his seasons trump both of them. You look at 2022, when he had arguably the greatest offensive season in Major League history. He slashed 311, 425, 686, 1111 OPS, a 210 OPS plus, 391 total bases. He scored 133 runs with 177 hits, 28 doubles, 62 home runs, 131 RBI, and 111 walks. And you're thinking that is the greatest offensive season in the history of the sport. And then you go to 2024. 321, 455, 687, 1142 slash line. 218 OPS plus, 368 total bases with 8 games to play, 114 runs, 53 home runs, 136 RBI, 125 walks. Both of those seasons are better than anything that Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna are doing. Acuna, higher batting average, both of them way more stolen bases. It's not like Judge stole 16 in 2022 and 10 in 2024. The guy's 6'8", 250 pounds of solid muscle. So it's not like, this guy should be exactly fleet of foot, and he's still stealing double-digit bases. Is Judge's 2022 and 2024 seasons being overshadowed by seasons that are less than?
I don't like that you're putting me in a position here where I have to try to defend a New York Yankee. Yeah, look, Judge is great. In terms of pure hitting, yeah, his seasons are better. He's an average defender at best, depending on what metrics you're looking at.
Acuna has a negative defensive WAR this year.
Yeah, that's true. It depends. Yeah, it depends, and that's why we said.
Last year.
It depends how we incorporate everything, right? Like what is the stat that determines if it's better or not? Look, Aaron Judge is spectacular. If you're 6'8", 250, you better be able to hit homers like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it at a different level this year with his increase in the batting average, on base percentage. It's all just been remarkable. I think having Juan Soto in the lineup with him has been a good safety net. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about Judge. He's awesome, but I don't want to give him too many flowers.
Well, and here's the thing, man, and there's a reason that they say comparison is the thief of joy, right? Like, we live in a world where, oh my God, is this guy's having an incredible season? Well, was this season better? Was it? Who the hell cares? We are seeing some of the greatest seasons in the history of the sport right before our eyes, and it's awesome. It's awesome, and let's just accept it for that. We don't need to compare. It's a fun little thing to do, a fun little debate to have. Who was better?
Sure.
It's fun, but at the end of the day, if you have one of these guys on your team, you don't care that you don't have the other guy, because you've got that guy. It's like do we have Ronald Acuna? Do we have Gunnar Henderson or Bobby Witt? We've got one of them. I'm cool. People are like, oh, the Orioles could have had Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson. Why do you need that? That would have been awesome. But why? But then you don't have Adley, and I know Adley's had a little bit of a less than season this year. But why do you need? I don't know. I'm happy with Gunnar being on the team, just like the Braves are happy with Acuna, the Dodgers are happy with Ohtani, the Yankees are happy with Judge, but the Yankees are not going to be happy if they don't win the Soto sweepstakes in the offseason. That's the difference. That's the difference here.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Did you miss anything from Glenn Clark Radio this week, including former Ravens Super Bowl champions Bryant McKinney and Vontae Leach, Maryland coach Mike Loxley, Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, and more? Find them all right now in the Glenn Clark Radio Week in Review feature at PressBoxOnline.com, and watch or listen to GCR every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, or right here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, as for today's game, Cade Povich takes the mound again for the Orioles, looking to build off his 5-inning, 2-run performance his last time out, with first pitch slated for 4:05 p.m. this afternoon. Povich is 1-2 with a 3.18 ERA, allowing just 6 earned runs in 17 innings pitched his last 3 starts, striking out 23 batters and walking just 4 over that time frame. Overall, Povich is 2-9 with a 5.74 ERA in 14 starts this season. His last start was against these very same Tigers, when, again, he struck out 8 over 5 innings, 2-run ball, allowing just 4 base runners. Detroit will counter with right-handed pitcher Reese Olson, who comes in at 4-8 with a 3.50 ERA and 121 WHIP in 20 starts this season. Olson recently missed over a month with a shoulder strain, making his first start since July 20th this past Tuesday, when he threw 2 1/3 innings and allowed 4 runs in the eventual Tigers win over the Royals. Olson was removed from that July 20th start after 2 innings of 1-hit ball, and at the time, he was on a heater, pitching to a 2.40 ERA in 30 innings over his previous 5 starts, striking out 31 and walking just 6. Olson has never faced the Orioles in his 2-year career.
I would have sworn that Reese Olson was a left-handed pitcher, but it dawned on me that I'm thinking of Garrett Olson, the former
yeah.
Oriole. I'm still haunted by those dark hair Orioles pitchers, man.
Yeah, Garrett Olson. Was it Brian Burnes?
Brian Burris, yeah.
Brian Burris. Who was the other guy? It was something Riley, right? Matt
It was a
Riley.
Matt Riley, I think.
Matt Riley. Like, and what was the other? Adam Lowen.
Adam
Like
Lowen, Eric
Brian
DeBose.
Brian Mattis. The cavalry's coming, and then oh god,
Yeah.
like the only one that was worth really anything was Brian Mattis, and that's because he was a lefty specialist who owned David Ortiz. You know, like, and I know he was a few years after those other guys, but like, even still, that cavalry that was supposed to be coming, and I don't know if it's cavalry or cavalry. I think it's cavalry.
Cavalry is that.
Cavalry, I think, is the guys on horses coming to save the day, and I think cavalry is something.
Cavalry is like
a church thing.
That's like where Calvary, I think, is like where Jesus was on the cross or something.
Something.
I was raised Catholic. I should know that.
Yeah, me too. I should know it too. But all right, the latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Raven Star safety Kyle Hamilton, detailing his path from being the son of a basketball player to choosing football, being overlooked in the draft, and turning into a defensive unicorn as a playmaking Swiss Army knife in the NFL. Also inside, meet college football players from all of the area's D1 programs and some of the area's college soccer standouts as well. You can find that print issue of Press Box all throughout the region, including at 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. As for what's on tap, the Orioles conclude their series with Detroit tomorrow with a 1:35 first pitch. Albert Suarez will take the bump for the Birds, looking for a bounce-back outing. Suarez is 8-6 with a 3.60 ERA this season, but in his last outing, when he faced off with the Giants, he surrendered 4 runs on 6 hits and 2 walks in just 3 1/3 innings pitched. The Tigers will counter with, nobody effing knows because these guys are douchebags who don't want to post their starting pitcher until 20 minutes before the damn game, so nobody knows who's pitching for the freaking Tigers tomorrow. Bastards.
It'll be an opener. He'll go an inning and a third, and then someone else will come in and go like 4, and then
it'll be that Brisky guy or whatever the hell his name was, and they try and rediscover the magic that got them almost a perfect game, that allowed them to take a perfect game into the 8th inning. So we're not even gonna, you know what I didn't put in here was a guess at the Orioles lineup today, and I think it's difficult to guess.
It'll be some guys.
Probably. There's gonna be some guys doing some things in that Orioles lineup with a bunch of other guys.
A couple dudes maybe too.
My guess, you know what? Let's I think you're gonna have Gunnar leading off playing shortstop. I think you're gonna have they're going up against a righty. It might be Cedric. If Cedric's back, if his neck's feeling okay, it might be Cedric playing center. You know what? It's gonna be Colton Cowser. It's gonna be Gunnar batting first, playing shortstop, Colton Cowser batting second, playing center field. You're going to have Ryan O'Hearn batting third, playing first base, Anthony Santander batting fourth, playing in right field, Adley Rutschman batting fifth and catching. Then I think it's going to be Jordan Westburg batting sixth and playing second base, Ramon Urias batting seventh, playing third base, Austin Slater batting eighth, playing left field, and who's going to bat ninth for this team? Who did I leave out?
DH. Did you have a DH in there?
I didn't have a DH in there. Oh, Eloy Jimenez will probably DH then. Sure. I forgot he was on the team. Who the hell knows? But I think Ramon and Westy are coming back today. I do. 3 hits in 2 games. Ramon Urias turned around that fastball for Napo Taco last night. I think they're both going to be in the lineup today. That's my take, and that's what I'm sticking to. Ryan, can you give us a County Sports Zone live read while I pull up Take to Rake?
I suppose I can. I was just going to say prior to that I want to see Jordan Westburg batting second because they're kind of missing a regular 2-hitter that's contributing. But
I wouldn't mind that.
Let's get to County Sports Zone. High school sports season is well underway. County Sports Zone will be reporting every score from every event with every school at every level throughout the state all academic year long. Check it all out right now at countysports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com.
All right. So I had Tony Taters in Take the Rake. Taters, since last week's game, he's gone 4 for 22, 3 runs scored, a double, 2 home runs, 4 RBI, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He slashed 182, 280, 500 with a 780 OPS, a 125 batting average on balls in play. So let me screen grab this real quick and put this in, because I tried to figure this out yesterday, and I was like, let's just wait for the game tonight to conclude, and then I forgot to do it, admittedly. So I'll put that in there, and then let's go to Gunnar, who I think overall had a little bit better of a week batting average-wise, but I don't know that you can definitely say that he won. If he won, it means
Gotta
that
see the numbers.
What's that?
I say gotta see the numbers. I don't know. I know Tony had Tony's homers were both, especially the first one was massive. He should get some brownie points for that. I don't know what Gunner's slash was though.
So Gunnar going into last night's game. Oh, Gunnar had 2 hits last night? I didn't realize Gunnar had 2 hits last night. Gunnar wins. Gunnar went 8 for 24, a home run, 2 RBI, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He had 3 stolen bases. He slashed 333, 385, 542, 926. Gunnar wins.
Yeah. By virtue of the slash line. Like I said, though, I want to give Tony his flowers because what a massive home run to hopefully turn the tide for this team going forward.
And so,
fingers crossed.
Ryan, that gives you 2 straight victories. And that pulls you to within
striking distance.
If you win this week, we enter the postseason tied in Take the Rake. Now, I still think even if you win this coming week, that I should get the first pick in Take the Rake for the postseason, because I think 1 or 2 of your victories came when you had a replacement.
I think you're right. I do.
And all my 9 victories are my victories.
Yeah. No, you can have first pick. But I believe I get first pick today, correct?
You do get first pick today.
And I have to I know he's your guy, but I'm so excited that he's coming back. Even if it's not today, it should be tomorrow or Monday. And I think he's gonna have a good week. Give me Jordan Westburg.
Westies testies. I don't know why I said that. What the hell did I just do here? All right, Ryan takes Westburg. Paul takes, I wonder who I'm going to take. Paul takes Gunnar Henderson. I had already changed the stats. I had already changed the standings.
Yeah, but you just deleted the 8.
I did? Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Screw your 8. Screw your 8. 8 ain't great. It ain't 9, baby.
That's true.
All right. So what time did you do that? We'll say it was 10:51. Why not? All right. Pressbox's today's show, The Batter On, is brought to you by Pressbox's Project Game Day.
You want me to do this one, Paul?
Please.
You need a little breather. Pressbox's Project Game Day is back for another season. Join Glenn Clark, Rita Hubbard, and Super Bowl 35 champion Femi Ayambadejo after every Ravens game this year as they break down what happened and why and what we learned in the game. You can find the show at PressBoxOnline.com/gameday. That's Pressbox's Project Game Day. Every Ravens game day, all season long.
Why and what happened and when it happened.
And what we learned.
All right. Let's get some interaction here. You know what I said I was going to do last week was go through the comments and try and respond to them, and I didn't respond to a single one.
That's all right.
I had stuff to do, and I literally had to jump out of here, go and do something I planned on coming back to, and I just realized right now I never got back to it. Hope that didn't stop you all from commenting. I'm sorry about that. All right, let's see our first comment. John Lamb, Taters hits bombs. We have to keep him. I will worry about keeping him when we get to the point where it becomes a conversation. Right now, let's just worry about him hitting more home runs and trying to get the Orioles into the postseason on a heater. I do agree that you have to do what you can to keep Anthony Santon there, and I think that they'll do what they have to. But we'll worry about that in a few weeks. Hopefully 5 weeks. Ryan?
Yeah, I think Have to is pretty strong. I'm gonna back myself into a corner here. I don't think they have to keep him. I think they should keep him. I think they should make every effort to keep them. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if they don't. And I think that's the cleanest way to put it. I love Tony. I would love to keep him. I don't think they have to keep him.
I love Anthony Santander. He's got this essence to him that you just want to be around, right? And he's very clearly a team leader. And he plays the game with so much joy and fire and passion. If they keep him, they need to find somebody else to hit in the 3-4 holes. Because Anthony Santander, and I know the batting average is an antiquated stat, but your 3-hitter can't hit 238. Your 3-hitter has got to hit 280 or higher. And I would much rather see Santander batting 5th for this team with somebody who routinely puts the bat on the ball and routinely gets on base in the 3-hole. And they tried to do that with Gunnar, and Gunnar, I think, is the Orioles' leadoff hitter this year and every year moving forward. Somebody's got to step up and be that 3-hitter, whether that's Jackson Holliday, whether that's somebody they add in free agency. If they're going to re-sign Anthony Santander, it has to be with the intent that he's batting 5th moving forward. Santander as a 5-hitter is a difference maker, and he's a difference maker on this team regardless.
Yeah.
But your 3-hitter's got to hit better than 238, and he's got to get on base at a higher percentage than 322?
Something like that. Yeah. And that's really the only reason I say we don't have to keep him. Because, look, are 45 homers replaceable? Probably not. Is a 330 on base replaceable?
311
Is
on base percentage.
311 on base percentage replaceable? Yeah. Can you improve upon that? Yeah. That's the only reason I say we don't have to keep him. I love the guy. I hope we keep him. Not the end of the world if we don't.
Yeah, Gunnar's number suggests that Gunnar should be hitting 3rd. 283, 366 with a 904 OPS, 37 homers, 80. He should be hitting 3rd, but they did that, and it wasn't great.
I think I'd be fine with Gunnar hitting 3rd. I'd never want Gunnar hitting lower than 3rd.
No.
But I'd be fine with him at 3rd if someone else steps up and proves that they can be a reliable leadoff hitter.
And the other thing is that Gunnar starts hitting 3rd right in the middle of the Orioles' downward turn with offensive production, right? And I think that Gunnar right now, he knows he's the best player on the team. He wants to be that team leader, and I think he presses. I think he tries to do too much for this team. And if he just and he had that conversation, you saw it with Mookie Betts on Mookie Betts' podcast, where it's just like Mookie's like, man, just be Gunnar. Like, you're here. You are this guy. You don't need to prove anything to anybody, because he's already done it. If he can get that mindset where he's like, it's not, I have to do this, it's I'm going to do this, I think it makes a world of difference with Gunnar. We're just scratching the surface of what Gunnar's going to be able to do. He's still just 23 years old. So I look at him as a guy who should be able to hit 3rd, but right now it's been proven that he has to hit leadoff for this ball club and set the tone that way. But whether they add somebody in free agency or somebody steps up that's already on the ball club, somebody's got to be able to hit 3rd for this team next year so that Santander can slide down to the 5-hole.
Yeah.
All right, Wall Street window. Holiday is a man-child. The biggest mistake this team made was when the GM caved into the Holiday family entitlement mentality and put him ahead of Connor Norby. If Norby was on the team after opening day instead of Holiday a few weeks later, it'd be a better situation past few weeks. Look. Oh, man, that is so much to take in.
He's 20 years old.
He's 20 years old.
He has,
gonna be a star.
150 ABs?
Yeah, does he even have that much?
Probably not.
Where Jackson Holliday? Okay, he has 180 ABs, 194 plate appearances.
That's less than a third of a season.
He's played 55 games. He's going to be one of the best players on this team from next year on. Yeah, it hasn't been great, but he's a 20-year-old learning at the big league level. Okay? Connor Norby, I've always believed that Connor Norby is going to hit 280 with 20 homers at the big league level. Is Jackson Holliday is going to hit 310 with 20 to 30 homers at the big league level. That's what he's going to be. He's going to end up being a better player than Connor Norby. It's recency bias. It's seeing Connor Norby also played college baseball at a top program and has played 3 or 4 years at the minor league level. These two players are not the same. Connor Norby should be better than Jackson Holliday right now, but he won't be in the long run. I'm not going to get mad at Jackson Holliday. Yeah, I want to see him do better, but you have to keep the mindset of he's 20 years old, and it was 2 years ago that he just got drafted and graduated from high school. So, I understand that you're upset. I don't think the Orioles gave in to anything with the Holliday family. I think that they saw that he is a is universal talent the right terminology there?
Generational talent?
Thank you. He's a generational talent.
Universal talent works too. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
All right. Daniel Pitts. Gunnar Henderson was just named most valuable Oriole. Well, he should be. I mean, I think that you can make a case for Anthony Santander as well. But Gunnar Henderson is the best player on the team. And this entire season, as Gunnar goes, so go the Orioles. He is the Orioles' most valuable player. And I agree with him winning most valuable Oriole. Ryan?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He was in the MVP conversation for the better part of the season. Yeah. He has been the most valuable Oriole. Has Santander been the most clutch Oriole? Probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
But Gunnar Henderson has been the better all-around player, and it's not close.
Yeah. Daniel Pitts, I hate those Apple TV games. I wish I wasn't going. Hate those Apple TV games. I wasn't going to pay to watch them lose again. Then they play one of their best games of the season. FML. Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't have Apple TV by now anyway, that's kind of on you because they have the best programming of all the streaming services. You will not find a better show on Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, or what is it now? Just Max. You're not going to find better programming on any of those than what's on Apple TV. So Presumed Innocent is maybe the best show I've ever seen in my life. The Morning Show, Shrinking, Ted Lasso. If you don't have Apple TV, you don't want Apple TV, and you don't want to watch the best television you've ever seen. So that's on you. I love Apple TV. We don't mind paying for it because the programming is amazing, and we don't have to miss any Orioles games. And Roku, streaming the games on Roku, that's free. Like you can watch the Roku. We don't have a Roku account. You can watch the Roku games for free. So, I get it. You don't want to pay extra for stuff, but Apple TV, I don't have an issue with it because I love Apple TV anyway. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add there. I haven't seen nearly as much of the programming as you have, but I don't know. I've outgrown the idea of complaining about all the different streaming services. I have them all by now. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not coming down on you for not having Apple TV, but I like the complaint for me. It falls on deaf ears because it's the programming is really good, so you should have it anyway. If you don't, okay, you don't want to pay for that. That's cool, but there's a lot of us who don't mind paying for it because it's not just to watch baseball. They have incredible programming. All right, Randall Fracassi, the Orioles' main obstacle is Hyde himself. You know how I feel about this. I don't want to bring down the vibes by complaining about something that I consider to be a negative. So
we didn't even bring up anything related to this. I think Randall just wants us to get angry again.
Maybe. I'll give you a thumbs up on that, Randall. I'm not going to take the bait, and we're going to move on to Daniel Pitts. Did you happen to notice in last Orioles Sunday Roku game when Melanie Newman was doing play-by-play that her co-host said after a fan made a good catch, give that fan a contract? And Melanie Newman was extremely confused. It was an Orioles facepalm moment. You guys can't see this, but I won't put this big a comment on the screen. It was an Orioles facepalm moment. Then she came back from the commercial break talking about Rex Barney and said she had the interns on it. Melanie Newman is a hell of a quality human being, and you will not get me to say a negative word about Melanie. I have my opinions about a lot of different things. So obviously, you know how I have an opinion about Melanie Newman. Melanie Newman has never been anything but kind and gracious to me. She and my wife are somewhat friends. Every time I've interacted with her, she's been phenomenal. So I will not come on my show and say anything bad about Melanie Newman. Do I think that she should know if she's going to work for the Orioles as a broadcaster? Do I think she should know the history of give that fan a contract? Yeah. I mean, especially when my co-host had a podcast I also did with him called Give That Fan a Podcast. So I know you agree with me, Ryan, but I'm not going to sit here and come down on Melanie Newman. I'm pretty sure she grew up a Red Sox fan. And Rex Barney's been gone, I believe, since 1997. So I won't give a negative comment about Melanie, and especially not on this show.
Yeah, I didn't hear it happening, so I can't really speak to it. But look, that's one of those things that, like, yeah, I mean, just tell her after the fact, like, hey, just, give that fan a contract is something that, a former broadcaster used to say when a fan would make a nice play in the stands. Okay, cool. We shouldn't begrudge her for not knowing that. Like, sure, if you've been following the Orioles for that long, then yeah, you know what that's all about. But no big deal.
It's just it would be like the same thing if you've grown up with the Orioles, you know the 7-inning stretch they play. Thank God I'm a country boy. But there are so many people who have that are Orioles fans who have no idea who John Denver is. They have no idea what happened to him with that plane crash in '97. They just don't know. And I'm not going to begrudge somebody for not knowing that when, especially when it's somebody who came up a fan of another team, was working her way through the minor leagues, got a big league opportunity with the Orioles when they were really bad. Why would she know that? I guess she should, but I'm not going to come down on her for it. And we spent way too much time on that. Adit Mahmoud, Kobe is getting optioned today per Rock, so that could mean one of Ramon Westburg is back. Kobe Mayo is one of the moves. I think you're going to see he's going to get optioned, but you could see one of these other guys released. It could be Soto, it could be Rivera, but Westburg I think is coming back. I think they're both coming back today. So thank you for that, because we learned today that since we've been doing this since the show started today, that Mayo is getting an option and Gunnar Henderson won Orioles most valuable Orioles. So thank you.
Yeah, a lot of news breaking on a Saturday morning. I don't know what the option situation is with Livan Soto or Emmanuel Rivera. I do know that they don't need to clear 40-man space, so it's unlikely that we see any DFAs unless that's just how the puzzle pieces fall. I'm excited to have hopefully both of Ramon and Westburg back.
Yes. Daniel says, I know people say average doesn't matter anymore, but are you okay with this? Fits in with what we were just talking about. I'm okay with his 238 season average, but not for a 3-hitter. It's hard to complain about a guy who's going to hit 45 home runs and drive in over 100 this year. Yeah. I'm not going to complain about that. The average, I want him out of the 3-hole, but I've wanted him out of the 3-hole for 4 years now. I think he should be hitting 5th on this team, and I've been outspoken about that in the past. He's a 5-hitter, not a 3-hitter.
Yeah.
All right. Michael Swanson, replying to Daniel Pitts, Apple TV is a scam. To see MLB partner with these apps is really a slap in the face. That's neither here nor there. Apple TV's programming is phenomenal, like I just said. Daniel says, we all agree that we need to replace our hitting coaches in the offseason. What about someone like Adam Jones? Just because Adam Jones is a popular Oriole does not mean that Adam Jones should be the hitting coach. And I love Adam Jones, but Adam Jones didn't have the greatest plate approach either. I mean, how many times did you see him with 2 strikes swing at a slider in the other batter's box, or in a big situation with guys on base late in the game, you saw him swinging a fastball in his eyes and swing right through it. Love Adam Jones, but not every former Oriole that we love needs to have a part in coaching the team, especially as a hitting coach. And Barry Bonds is arguably the greatest hitter of all time, and he failed as a hitting coach with the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, I feel bad. Daniel is a loyal viewer of the show and a regular commenter, and I feel like all his comments today we've kind of disagreed with. So nothing personal, Daniel.
And that's the other thing to get to that point, but Daniel follows this show, so Daniel knows who we are, and Daniel knows that we don't pull punches and we don't wear orange blinders. We tell it like it is. So I think that he can understand, like, we don't have to agree with him to still respect him.
Yeah, I will say, like, people love to name like former players from their team and be like they should be a coach for this team. Mm-hmm. It's not always, it's not always that cut and dry. I love Adam Jones. I love JJ Hardy. I love Matt Wieters. I don't know if any of them would be good coaches. I have no idea. So
How
would they
many
consider someone like Adam Jones? Maybe, sure. But I don't know.
how many times have we heard up until like 2012 or even beyond that, Cal Ripken should be managing this team? Why?
Right.
You know, like he's got that great youth academy and all that, but what qualifies him to manage the Baltimore Orioles? You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, like Brandon Hyde, you know how I feel about him, but he earned the right to get a big league managing job from what he did managing in the minors. I mean, Cal hasn't managed any professional team. He owns a minor league affiliate, but he hasn't managed anywhere. So it's the same thing. Just because we love these guys doesn't mean that they're qualified to take on a big league coaching job somewhere.
Yeah.
Daniel says, all the sports books now have Heel and Wells in front of Cowser for AL Rookie of the Year. Do you think Cowser still has a shot, or is the media going to go with the Yankee regardless? To me, he's going to go with the Yankee regardless. As long as he finishes top two, then I think that I know that the Orioles get a draft pick compensation for that because he's been with the team all year. The 2 home runs last night help. He's played really great defense. The strikeouts are just – there's so many strikeouts. He struck out 162 times, you know?
Yeah. The strikeouts are – I will say Austin Wells is OPSing like 350 over the last couple weeks. So Wells is really, really scuffling right now. Luis Heel missed some time with injury. I don't know if he's pitched enough. I didn't see that they had him ahead of Cowser in the odds. I still do think Cowser has a realistic shot, but it's going to matter. You know, this last week plus of games is going to matter big time.
Yeah. Comment from David Devaney. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I think this is the first time he's commented on the show. This show is awesome. Love all the Orioles info. I am from Baltimore, but live in the Hampton Roads area. Follow both the Tides and the Orioles. David, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the kind words. We try to make the show awesome. Ryan and I love Orioles baseball, and that's why we're so passionate about it when they're really good, and why we're really passionate about it when they're really bad. So thank you for tuning in and for the kind words about the show.
Yeah. I don't know where Hampton Roads is, but
I'm guessing it's in Virginia.
Well, glad you're with us.
Yep, for sure. Randall, Santander is replaced by a more consistent hitter. Is Santander worth $100 million plus? Absolutely not. I
don't know if it's a 7-year deal for $100 million. That's kind of worth it, right?
Yeah, but then
I know he's not thinking that way, but
yeah. Is he worth 3 years at 100 or 4 or 5 years at $100 million? I don't know, man. I mean, he's 29 years old. Do you want to pay him into his mid 30s? That's a great question, you know. But it's hard to argue with a guy who's going to have 45 home runs this year and lead your team in RBIs and have some of your biggest clutch hits of the last 2 or 3 years. It's really hard to argue that. Randall says, O's may decide to invest in Futurians
in the future and sign Soto.
Yeah. He could be the Judge or Ohtani of this lineup for years to come. And see, that's why, like, I had a lot of backlash. Like, the Orioles aren't going to sign Soto. They shouldn't sign Soto. You can't have a $200 million payroll, and half of that payroll is tied up between Gunnar and Soto. And it's like, Juan Soto makes his team the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
When they're healthy, he makes his team the best team in baseball.
He's Juan Soto. Like, I'll give him a $500 million contract.
Not my money.
If you're choosing between Santander and Soto, I'm sorry, it's an easy answer.
I love Tony, but the answer is easy. The answer is easy, and I'm pretty sure that all the teammates of Juan Soto have always loved him. Yeah. We don't like him because he plays for the Yankees, and he showed up our pitcher when he hit a home run in a game that the Yankees – it was the only run, and the Yankees lost that game like 4-1, and he stared down our pitcher. Randall then says, Bonds is a steroid cheater. So is everybody from the 90s.
Yeah, I don't – whatever. He's a Hall of Famer, too.
Bonds was a 400 homer, 400 stolen base guy before he started using steroids. And he only started using steroids because guys like Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, who were significantly worse players than Barry Bonds, were getting all the highlights and all the headlines when Bonds was sitting there putting up 45 homer seasons and stealing 40 bags. Like, Barry Bonds is arguably the best player to ever play the game. He may have taken steroids, but so did a lot of guys. and he was still better than all of them.
Yeah, you still got to square up a baseball. That's the
Yeah.
hardest thing to do in sports.
Exactly. David says, Newport News. Yes, you pronounced my name correctly. Awesome. Glad to have you on board. I figured that it was in Virginia. He said between Williamsburg and Norfolk. I have a coworker named Deedon who is from Newport News. He's actually close friends with, I learned this about him the other day. He's close friends with Mike Tomlin. They went to high school together. They've known each other since they were 10 years old. And he played basketball against Allen Iverson. So, yeah. So, Newport News, good area for sports for sure. And then Brandel, he combats us with doesn't make it right. Cheating is cheating no matter who it is. Cheating is cheating, but they were all cheaters and they were all playing the same game at the same time. And, if you're Barry Bonds, I know the type of player and the type of mentality that Barry Bonds has. Watch that freaking Greg Maddux documentary and see Barry Bonds 20 years later looking at an at bat against Craig Maddux and how cerebral he was. And I know for a fact Barry Bonds didn't take steroids to enhance his Hall of Fame case. Barry Bonds took steroids to say, all you guys need steroids to get to where I am naturally. Watch what happens when I take steroids. Watch what happens when I take steroids. That is why Barry Bonds, if he doesn't get in the Hall, I don't think Barry Bonds cares if he gets in the Hall of Fame because he knows that everybody else knows he's one of the top 5 players to have ever set foot on the baseball field. And so he was like, damn my Hall of Fame case. I'm just the greatest player alive. And watch what happens when I do what everybody else is doing. That's going to do it for us here on the Bat Around. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors. Without you, we don't have a show. Thank you to all of our loyal fans, listeners, viewers. Without you, we 100% do not have a show. Thank you so much. Until next week,